y'all, welcome back to After Hours with Asia. If you are new here, I am your host Asia, a mental health therapist, and we are back today with a new episode. This is a vibe where mental health meets pop culture, or as I like to say, TV talk, therapy thoughts. We have a new episode today. Like I said, we will be getting into a new show, but I want to address some changes. As you guys can probably see, we have a new setup. I wanted to have a setup I feel like that better met the vibe that I wanted to give with After Hours with Asia. It is not complete. There will probably be changes, more in the future, but for now, this is the cute little setup we are going with. And also, as you can see, I am not alone today. I am back again with my partner Dex. He will be helping me out with our conversation today. And as you will probably see at some point throughout this video, we have our fur babies here with us, Ace and Bentley. They are sleeping behind us right now, but I am sure one of them you will be able to see at some point throughout the video. So we are excited today to get into a new show. We just kind of currently watched it, about a month ago? And we had a lot of thoughts once again. If we didn't have a lot of thoughts, we wouldn't be coming on here talking about it. But we are super excited for season 2 to kind of see, oh my gosh, what is going to happen. Because the way season 1 ended, it was
it's gonna be hectic.
It's definitely gonna be interesting. And we will definitely get into that college transition soon. So we are gonna be talking about Forever, the new series on Netflix, and it's definitely more than a teen drama. It is a raw and powerful look at what happens when you are a teenager trying to figure out who you are while everybody is telling you who you are supposed to be. This is something that I love to work with my clients on in real life, and I think it is very much relevant, not just to teenagers. I think it is very much relevant to anybody at any stage of life, because
and that's their main thing going on at that age.
Yes, very much so. It's who are you supposed to be at this big transitional period. So if you guys have not watched it, we give spoilers here. But a little synopsis. Forever, created by Mara Brock Akil, hey soror, and based on Judy Blume's novel, follows Keisha and Justin, two Black teens navigating love, shame, family expectations, and community gossip. From leaked sex tape to quiet learning struggles, the show explores how outside voices and the weight of reputation shape the way we see ourselves, and how those stories echo in our relationships. Feel like that's a pretty good synopsis of what we see and what the 8 episodes there are, and what we are probably likely to see when they go to college. So yeah, we're just gonna jump right in. So Keisha's sex tape is shared without her consent, turning an intimate moment into a public scandal. That's kind of what we see at the very beginning of the season, when she rekindles with Justin, and then she is kind of afraid that it has gotten out to him, and he's like, what is going on? She's judged by her classmates and community members, especially as a Black girl who's already navigating a world quick to label her. Shelly, her mom, is constantly reminding her how much she sacrificed. She had to take her out of the school that she was originally at to her knowledge at that point, it was because she was getting it was racism by her teachers, I think they were saying.
Yeah, but I think the whole reason was because, she tried to get away from that boy and stuff like that.
Right, and the people talking about her at school.
Shout out, he went to Winston too. Winston-Salem State.
He did. And so there's a scene, I think, when Keisha finally tells Shelly, the truth about why she left, why she's with Justin, the truth about everything, sex tape, all of it. And Shelly was like, I didn't work this hard for you to ruin everything, and that really...
I think, too, it went into, how being comfortable, being in the space to talk to your mom and be vulnerable.
That's a good one.
You know what I'm saying?
That was a good one.
Maybe she didn't feel like she was in a space to talk to her mom about that.
That's a good one. And we kind of see both Keisha and Justin struggle with that. Justin, in his aspect, when he starts to question, what college is going to look like for him. Mom is, oh, you're going to walk on the basketball team at Northwestern. Like, you're going to go to Northwestern like I did. And he's starting to question, like, do I want to go to Howard with Keisha? Like, do I want to go to NYU and go to music school? Like, he's starting to have all of these questions. But he can't bring those things up to his parents, or he eventually does. But I think it was hard for both of them in an aspect, but easier for Justin in some ways to talk to his parents about certain things than it was for Keisha to talk to her mom about certain things.
Okay, and so with that being said, how do you think the sacrifices our parents made shape who we believe we have to be?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I think a lot of us kind of get trapped into who we are supposed to be, given how community has labeled us, given how family has labeled us. We, get these character traits. Oh, you're the good girl. Oh, you're the smart person. Oh, you're the athlete. And so now you have this like expectation that you have to be this person and that people are relying on you to be this person. And a lot of the times, like, our parents do invest in those dreams. Like, if we are a star athlete like Keisha, a star track athlete, like, mom is gonna do anything that she can, and when she's doing everything that she can, working several jobs, like busting her butt in order to make sure Keisha still is able to run track and get to Howard.
Really gifted.
For sure, exactly.
She was smart and she was like gifted in track and stuff.
Talented, exactly. And like, mom thought that, like, my daughter is the best. Like, she doesn't give me any problems, and like, that's a hard, pressure to have. I remember having that problem, like, in my own life of, I am the good girl. And so any kind of slip up, it's like, hold on now, that's out of character for you. But it's like, she's a teenage girl. Like, she's exploring, figuring herself out just like everybody else is. And, like, but because she has this label of being a good girl, being a girl that follows the rules and doesn't deviate from the norm, like, when she does, it's a problem almost. And I think, same with Justin. Like, here he is, his parents have sacrificed so much. Like, he has ADHD, and mom has, they pay for tutors, they have a lot of things set in place for him to be successful. And then it's like, okay, here it is, all of these things have been set into play. Like, you've worked this hard, you've applied, you've gotten accepted, and you're coming to me now saying you don't want to go. Like, you want to go to music school. Like, that was a hard conversation for him to have, and a hard thing for parents to be able to grasp too, because it's like, that's like a disappointing thing that all of these things that we planned for are no longer going to go into fruition, like we said. So I think it can be hard, like, when our parents, or like society as a whole, like, gives us these roles that we are supposed to fall into, and then, like, at some point, if we choose not to want to meet them, like, we're looked at crazy.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think too, when it comes to like parents and them playing the roles in our lives, a lot of people, have experience just from having their parents in their lives.
Yeah.
Like, some people have their dads in their lives, some people don't.
Right. And we see Justin comes from a 2-parent Black household, which we typically don't get that portrayed in a lot of television shows. And I think we talked about how impactful and good that was to see, and just the approach that his dad took of just, like, I think you were saying, like, teaching him how to be a man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think there was a part in the season where his mom was like, it's late, like, cops are gonna be out, like, I don't want him to go, and he's like, but Keisha's not feeling well, like, something's wrong, like, and his dad's like, go, be back by midnight, like, and mom is like pitching a fit, and dad was like, I'll handle her, like, and I had to be like, oh, wait, hold on, like, how do, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, that was not a typical way I feel like we see Black parents.
Yeah. And so that was a great image.
Their children, yeah.
Especially, like, too. He had a restaurant.
Like, him owning his own business, him being successful in owning his own business. Like, they had done well for themselves. And we, watched the interview where they talked about how that's something that's not typically portrayed in television, like, often.
Yeah.
So we talked about the sex tape that was circulating of Keisha, and how one of, like, I think it was our second encounter, how Keisha, well, it was really the first where we meet Keisha, how she didn't want to come to the party because it was going to be with a lot of people from the school she had gone to where the tape was circulating. Um, but that's kind of like how we're introduced to her and like the things that she's going through.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious, like,
So
we've both grown up with social media. Like,
Yeah.
how do you think, or what role do you think that social media has in shaping how we see ourselves and ultimately, like, how Keisha saw herself?
Well, I think social media is powerful.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, when I was first getting on social media, it was like really Facebook.
Yeah.
Everybody was like on Facebook and stuff like that.
Yeah, Kick was around when we
Kick
were. Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. But when it comes to stuff like that, like people really take that to heart.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even when it comes down to who follows who and who like my pictures
Right.
and how many likes I got and stuff like that. So it'd be
Right.
important to people.
Right.
And so like I just really like I kind of felt that when especially like when she went to prom with old dude.
Mm-hmm.
Um and it was posted on social media. And so that's how Justin saw it and stuff like that. And it just had bro hurt. And so I kind of felt that. And then it just like that just shows like how powerful, how meaningful it is to some people.
Mm-hmm.
That other people see this and then it's just like,
That's how we communicate with the
yeah,
world.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like he felt almost kind of hidden, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like, yeah, I do agree in that social media is so powerful in that, like, a lot of it, is not, people forget everything that you post is permanent. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow, okay, fine, you can delete a story expires after 24 hours. That's not to say people don't screenshot it. You know what I'm saying? Like, people much
Right.
very much do. So it's like, fine, it might not be shared there, but like, it's not to say that it's not shared in other domains.
Right.
And I think, you know in that age, and even our age, you still find people, like you said, doing it for the gram, like
Yeah.
doing it for social media, doing things for social media, that validation. And so
There's
we
that's not to say anything's wrong
no
with it. You
no
know what I'm
no
saying?
no
Like, that's some people's thing. So, I let it be. Like,
Mhm.
that if that's what they like to do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. But it's like, you're more than who you are on social media. Like,
Exactly.
social media is just an aspect of,
Yeah.
like,
And
these
what
people's lives
yeah,
and what we see.
definitely.
So, um, it just sucked that she felt like
But definitely powerful.
this was part of her identity because it was
Yes.
circulating, and it was like, that's something that is so hard to get away from. I feel like Keisha's story, especially like with the sex tape, is reflective of a lot of Black girls' experience, like Black girls that I know specifically. Like, I feel like a lot of us have been through a circumstance where we have trusted someone maybe that we probably shouldn't have, and like that trust and vulnerability was flipped, on us, and I think this was one of those encounters where she trusted this person to have this intimate moment on camera, and did not think that it would be shared as a, proving, like, as a contest almost with, him and his buddies. In At no point did he consider, how this was going to look on her.
Yeah.
And I think that was a big thing.
And then too, like, just being honest, like it shouldn't be happening anyway.
That's fair.
Especially at that age.
Fair. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Because it's like, what y'all
like,
doing?
like
Doing
why,
that
like,
everything.
why are we doing that anyway?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and then the way social media is now,
Yeah.
the iCloud and the
Yeah.
cloud and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff stays.
But like, again, 16-year-old.
Yeah.
I trust you. I trust you. I don't think you're gonna ever hurt me. We're supposed to be together forever. Like,
that's what I'm saying. They're young.
Yeah.
That's
It was, and that was a painful thing to have to watch her like.
And that's the
learn.
good part of the show. We're gonna be able to see how they grow.
Yeah,
over
yeah,
time.
yeah. But I just thought that was like such a relatable experience for a lot of people that I know, of just like, dang, like
we have
never
to start
never
learning to do better.
never did we think that like this was going to be something that could be so defining to my reputation. An intimate moment that you thought you shared with one person, and that person in the blink of an eye shared it with other people, and now this is around.
Yeah.
So over the midst of the season, we see Justin and Keisha's relationship evolve. They break up, they get back together, they break up, they get back together. She follows him to an island, they get back together, like very up and down, typical of a relationship in high school. They're juniors and seniors getting ready for college, trying to figure out, what they're going to do. Both of them are athletes. Is that what they want to pursue? All of these things are happening, and they are trying to figure themselves out while also figuring out how to be in a relationship. This being, I think, Justin's first relationship and Keisha's second. And
but was it really?
Yeah, exactly. Like, we don't really know too much about her relationship with I forgot.
What do you think Keisha and Justin gained from their relationship?
I think they gained a lot. Like, I think for both of them, the ultimate goal was to be together. You know what I'm saying? At the very end. And we see come the end of the season, like, they decide to break up. They go their separate ways. It's the summer before they're going to Howard. Like, she's going to Howard. He's supposed to be going to Northwestern. Is he taking a gap year? He's going. I can't remember.
I think he's taking a gap year.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure it out.
Yes. He's taking a gap year, trying to figure it out. So like they're about to be at two different places in the world. Like they live in California. She's about to go to DC. Like it's gonna be something.
She's going to Howard,
right? Like an HBCU, very different than the PWI. And he saw that at the little orientation. Like, oh, this is not gonna be the culture. Like it's very much the culture he was used to, which was at his high school, but like not necessarily the culture that he wanted to continue seeing.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how they're gonna do season 2.
I am too. We both are.
Going to Howard now.
I'm so weak, and we've all seen the speculations of like, oh, she's gonna be in a sorority. She's gonna, all of those things that like.
My boy gonna get his girl back. He's gonna get his girl back.
For sure. So, I think they gained a lot. I think they like ultimately gained character development. Like I said, they wanted to be together forever at the end, but like I think through it all, through the ups and downs, they both figured out a lot about themselves. Like Justin had to be a man, like Keisha how to trust somebody like that has her interest at heart. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what it was. I give it to him. He's tough because I think a lot of guys would have been done.
Why do you say that?
Because that's he went through a lot. They both went through a lot.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Like, they must have really had some kind of connection. Like, like that was a real kind of connection that they had.
For sure. And I will say, like, it does just remind me of just me. Like, it reminded me of my experience. I think it was like set in 2018. I was like, dang, like, this was my high school experience. But like, I just remember me laughing when we were watching it, when she was like blocking and unblocking him. Because I'm like, oh, that's so much like what we used to do, like, and even just through those moments of like learning that that's not how you solve a problem. Like, if this is somebody that you want to be with, like, you guys have to talk it out. And, eventually we see them learn how to do those things, how to communicate. And so I think that was like the beauty of it all. Like, no, it did not work out in the end. That's not to say like they cannot get back together in, season 2, like you said, like we are sure that he's going to get his girl back. And so it's just like, yes, y'all can come together. Like sometimes you just need time apart too. You said exactly, like
they both could level up.
Y'all are gonna change. Like we said that, like college will change you. And so I think like the character development was probably the biggest thing that I think both of them gained throughout their relationship. Of just like who they are and like who they are in a relationship. What that is, what that looks like for them.
Yeah.
Anything to add?
No, it's
Okay.
gonna be pretty much interesting though. It's gonna be pretty interesting.
Okay. 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 So let's talk about the college as a transition. Because like we said, we think this is gonna be an interesting
Mm.
part to see what really happens.
The college transition.
Yeah. So what do you think is one thing that nobody really prepares you for as you go off to school? You went to an HBCU. I
Yeah,
went to a
I mean,
PWI.
I feel like what they don't prepare you for. I feel
Mhm.
like it depends on where you come from.
Okay, say more.
It depends. Like I know some people that they were very independent before they went to school, but you got some come from a good household, and so when they go to college, they got to find out how to be more independent, and
Mhm.
so I feel like they're gonna have a lot of growth.
Mm.
They're
Mm.
gonna see a lot of things. They might have a lot of ups and downs. It depends on if they take place of this when they finish college or when they're
Mhm.
about to finish college or if they're starting college. It depends on when they started with season two. So
Mhm.
um it depends. I don't know. I'm very curious to see, but I think what nobody really prepares you for, I think it's just being independent, being up there on your own.
Okay. I
And for
agree.
yeah.
I agree.
Away from
I
family.
was gonna say the freedom.
Yeah.
Um, there is nobody there to make sure you're getting up and going to class. There's nobody there making sure you're doing your assignments. There's nobody there making sure
Hmm.
that you participate in extracurriculars. There's nobody
Yeah.
there to tell you what to do. Like you are your own
Until they
person.
put you on academic probation.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But even then, if you still choose not to do anything, they're gonna kick you out. So, but nobody is there to really tell you what to do. So you have so much freedom. Like you can be out till 3 o'clock in the morning and have class at 8 a.m. Like that is a choice that you can make. Is it the best choice? Not always, you know what I'm saying, but a
Yeah.
choice that so many of us have probably made. And I feel like those are the choices, just the freedom. Like you're around people that are y'all age, like y'all live with
Hmm.
each other. Like it's so different. Like it's so different.
Yeah.
And so like these big transitions, like going off to college, they can definitely challenge the self concept that we have created. Your high school self is not going to be the person that you are in college. Like
Yeah.
this is a big campus. Like
Two completely different
two
people.
completely different, you know what I'm saying? Like there's so much more to see on a college
Yeah.
campus that like you have to open your mind to new
Yeah.
things. And so
And I think that's the one place where you get that kind of exposure. But then I also wonder too, like even for people that don't go to college,
mhm.
what they experience and like the people they meet just by like through working and just meeting natural
Mhm.
connections with
Mhm.
people.
Mhm.
Like, cause I have plenty of cousins and stuff that didn't go to school, but I'm
Mhm.
sure they have like people out here that they just meet and connect with
Mhm.
on a regular basis. So
Mhm.
you
And these
know,
can all like you said, these encounters can all
mm-hmm.
impact our self concept and our identity, because like
Comes
there are
to
people
having that,
out there
yeah,
that think so differently than we do. You know what I'm
mm-hmm.
saying? Like the way that we think might be so strange to someone else and vice versa. And so,
Mm-hmm.
we can always learn from from other people. And so, like, but for them, I think this is their transition to college is where they get to kind of like choose who they want to be. Like,
Yeah,
I think Keisha was so excited, like, let me just get to Howard, where she get to just drop this image of like the expectations and the image that she had to like uphold and maintain while she was at high school. Like she's a completely new person on this like whole different side of the country. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
A completely new person, and she is so eager for that. And I think a lot of people can use like a big transition in life as an opportunity to do an identity change.
yeah,
But that can be exciting or scary. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Like it can be one or the other because it's a change. And sometimes some of us are more willing and accepting of change than others. And
yeah.
so I think it's
We're
interesting
gonna
to see
see.
how Keisha does adapt
Yeah, we're
to
gonna see.
this, transition, and how Justin adapts to being home for a year,
Yeah,
given that a lot of his friends are going to probably be at school. And so what does this year for him look like?
yeah.
Mhm.
In the closing reflections. So, just with the overall theme of forever, it isn't just about about elite tape or
Mhm.
what the learning lessons that Justin may have had, or necessarily what people try to paint your life out to be, and stuff like that. But I want to know, like, what did you think about, the big picture reflection as it came to the show Forever?
I think like the main, like you said, the main themes that we see for Justin and Keisha, like for him, his learning disorder, and for Keisha, her leak sex tape. I think we see that the world will define you before you get a chance to like say, hey, like this is actually who I am. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And like that is so hard to combat, like when everybody around you is saying, well, like this is who you are, this is who you're, and you're like, no, I'm not. Like, but you're just one person, and so it's so easy to believe everybody else but you. And so I think this show is so powerful in showing both Justin and Keisha and how they find a way to be themselves and to choose what works for them and something and what aligns with their values in a
yeah,
world telling them like who they should be. So like, for Justin, instead of going to Northwestern like his mom wanted him to do originally, they found a compromise and that he has a year to figure out like what are you going to
uh-huh.
do? What is your life going to look like if you're not going to go to Northwestern? And for
Yeah,
Keisha, it looks like, starting over at Howard. And
yeah,
so, um, I don't know. I think both of them are getting the opportunity to rewrite their stories and to define who they are in these new spaces of their life.
okay,
And I think that's the powerful thing of transitioning out of high school. Like,
yeah,
you get to be in the real world, instead of this little bubble of high
yeah.
school where you're around the same people
And then
every
you also
day.
get to claim, like, who you are as a person as well.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
get to form your kind of identity and how you want to go about yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like,
Because after college, it get real.
for sure, for
You know what I'm
sure,
saying?
for sure.
Real
And I think a lot of
working to
people,
be a professional.
most definitely, most
Yeah.
definitely. And I think what I noticed just a lot about Keisha and her story is just like how she felt like this mistake that she made was a defining factor for the rest of her life. And
Yeah.
like some mistakes that we make are defining factors, but I think a lot of the times, a mistake is a one time thing. But once you have the awareness and know like that is not something I should do again, if you do it again, like that is a decision, and that is very different. And so
Yeah.
I think now going forward, she is very much aware like this is not a position I would ever put myself in. I didn't think I was going to be in that position, but
Yeah.
now going forward, I know to have better communication and better boundaries and better trust with my partner so that that is not something that even can remotely happen again,
Yeah. Definitely.
And so yeah, I think both of them just get to write their stories the way that they want to instead of the way that the world has kind of like defined
I
their
definitely think they were
stories.
beneficial for each other going into
Hmm.
their next stages of
Oh,
life.
for sure.
So
Like we said, we're
yeah.
so excited to see what season two. I know we're gonna have to wait a little bit for it, but I don't know, like just
Yeah.
excited to see like how they further develop their stories and because it's gonna be a challenge for them to survive
Definitely.
that distance and that
Hmm.
transition. So thank you guys so much for joining us in this new little space, new little setup for for this next episode of After Hours with Asia. For our next episode, we are going to be going deeper into what real love can look like and how community can be a source of shame, but also a space for healing and growth. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thanks, babe, for joining me again on this episode. The dogs disappeared on us. They are sleeping. We are about to tune out too. But like we said, thank you again for joining, and
Thank
we
you.
hope to see you guys next episode. Bye.